Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video. We once again have a lot to get through today, so let's jump straight into it with some news about the Ethereum wallet coming to Opera's internet browser. Now you might remember a couple weeks, maybe a couple months ago, we talked about this being announced. We talked about the first beta version of this being launched, but today it is officially out. The Opera browser for Android now has a built-in Ethereum wallet. Let's read this article. Opera has announced the public release of its Web3-ready Android web browser, which notably sports a built-in cryptocurrency wallet. Previously available in beta, Opera for Android supports Ethereum's Ether and other tokens using the network's ERC20 standard. The app also provides support for crypto collectibles, ERC721 standard, such as CryptoKitties, as well as Ethereum-based decentralized apps, or dApps, that can be accessed from the wallet. Until now, using cryptocurrencies online and accessing Web3 required special apps or extensions, making it difficult for people to even try it out. Our new browser removes that friction, Charles Hamill, the product manager of Opera Crypto, said in a statement. And that is pretty much what we need to read here. This is now the Android version. The iOS version they are not currently working on. They said it is not one of their priorities because getting something on the iOS store is a lot more complicated. There are a lot more hoops to jump through because Apple has very much established a walled garden where they have complete control what gets in, what doesn't. Now, they did get this on the Google Play Store, where there's of course also a layer of control, but they tend to not be as strict about what they let in. So they started here with the Android browser. Their computer browser for Windows PC, for Mac, and for Linux is getting this upgrade in the coming months as well. But for now, it's only their mobile browser on Android. Now, excuse me, I might cough a bit and I might, yeah, I have, sorry, my throat is all over the place right now. So excuse me if I make weird noises throughout this video. I'm very sorry. I'm not doing that on purpose. But I'm going to assume that most of you are aware of the Opera browser. Opera is one of the major internet browsers. It's not quite as big as Firefox or Chrome, but it is absolutely up there. It is like the number 3 or 4, depending on who you ask, depending on which metrics you go by. And their mobile version is also very, very popular. They have tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of users between all the versions of their browser. So making an Ethereum wallet that also supports ERC20 tokens available by default, built in their browser from now on, that is a huge step for crypto. That makes it the first major browser that has built-in crypto capacities. This will only become more in the future. We will see. In the past, Opera has often been where innovation happens first, but because it was never the most popular browser, the mainstream didn't really notice until Firefox or Internet Explorer or Chrome copied the feature. So we'll likely see the same here. This will be the first in a long line of browsers that will have native crypto support. And of course, the big advantage of it being native is more people will be introduced to this. People who are just downloading Opera will find out about this browser being in there, might decide to try out some stuff with cryptocurrencies as a result. And of course, it being built into the browser itself should theoretically be more secure than the way it happens right now. Generally at the moment, when you want to deal with, when you want to use cryptocurrencies in an internet browser, you need to install a plugin from a third party. Now that plugin doesn't necessarily have to be insecure. That plugin can be perfectly secure, perfectly safe, but the thing is, you are now trusting 2 companies rather than just one. And there is an added layer and many added points of attack in the platform that spreads the plugin itself. It just if you don't have to use multiple pieces of software, it's generally a good idea to not use multiple pieces of software because it's just common sense. You have fewer points of attack if you're using 10 pieces of software and there's a 10% chance that something will have a major safety issue. You now statistically, it is very likely that at least one of them has a weakness. But if there's a 10% chance that any piece of security has a major weakness and you only use one piece of software, your chances that you will be safe are much higher. So the more we can see stuff like this integrated straight into browsers, straight into other software, the better in my opinion. Now let's talk about Revolut. Revolut is not technically a crypto company, but they want to revolutionize banking, and in the process they have been crypto friendly in the past. So let's look at what is going on with them right now. Revolut, a digital banking alternative that features an in-app Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchange, has received a European banking license as it seeks to expand its offerings and position itself as the Amazon of banking. The London-based unicorn, which remains one of the hottest fintech startups in the UK, announced on Thursday that it had received permission to begin offering European customers traditional banking services alongside its current suite of products. Initially, Revolut customers in eligible jurisdictions will have the ability to sign up for direct deposit and receive deposit insurance on up to 100,000 euros through the European Deposit Insurance Scheme. Later, the firm will roll out overdraft protection as well as traditional personal and business loans. Commenting on the development, Nikolai Storonsky, founder and CEO of Revolut, said, "With the banking license now secured, commission-free stock trading processing will and 5 new international markets at final stages of launch. We're living up to our reputation as the Amazon of banking. Our vision is simple: one app with tens of millions of users where you can manage every aspect of your financial life with the best value and technology." I'm gonna put a massive asterisk against them being the Amazon of banking. That very much, he's trying to phrase it here as if people are talking about them as that, but that very much seems to be their self-description that is being quoted in articles. Like, even in this article, that is very, very, very positive. It says that they position themselves as the Amazon of banking. So having the founder and CEO talk about that they have a reputation as the Amazon of banking, they do not. If you tell someone Amazon of banking, they're not going to be like, hey, that's Revolut. No, they don't have that kind of reputation. They're not that big yet, but it's definitely something to aspire to. But why is this relevant? This is relevant because this is an app that has built-in crypto features, that has built-in crypto markets. What exactly did it say here? I'm lost the quote right now. But you can buy and sell crypto in there, and now the company behind it has a banking license, meaning they will be meaning they will be able to offer so many more services in the future. They will be able to build out their infrastructure significantly, and this will once again be an opportunity for a lot of people to be introduced to crypto, to be onboarded to crypto, who might want to use Revolut for traditional banking to get loans, to send money, and then notice, hey, what is this crypto thing in there, and might get onto crypto that way. You absolutely cannot underestimate how important it is for just mainstream audiences, for your average person on the street, to be exposed to crypto. Because what crypto needs before it has any chance of mainstream adoption is that people need to be used to it. People need to think of crypto as just a normal part of life, in the same way that we now think of a smartphone as just a normal part of life. A smartphone 10 years ago was something novel, was something weird, was something a lot of people didn't quite understand. And so, of course, 10, 15 years ago, an app had it pretty hard becoming mainstream, because people weren't weren't used to the core concept underlying it yet. But once more people are just used to crypto being everywhere, to all their favorite apps, all their favorite companies, having crypto capabilities, having a wallet integrated in their web browser, having a crypto wallet and crypto buying, selling services integrated into their banking apps, having crypto integrated into their messaging app, for instance, if you want to send people money. All of those things, even if a lot of people do not use these features, just seeing that the features are there will mainstream crypto, will make crypto a normal part of everyday life, and that will create the groundwork for mainstream crypto adoption. Because it's a lot easier to get people to use something that they've been hearing about, that they've been seeing every day for years, than something that they've only seen a handful negative headlines about. So all of this, even if this is not even crypto news right now, just the fact that they also have crypto in their platform and that they now have the opportunity to expand significantly, to encroach on the traditional banking market, that will help crypto because it will make crypto more mainstream, even if people do not even use these features, even if they're not the primary features. Just people who are using these apps for other things, seeing that they support crypto, that is huge. But now let's talk about some individual crypto projects. Civic has managed to get a pretty great hire, a former Apple executive. Blockchain startup Civic has hired Apple veteran Philip Shoemaker as executive director of Identity.com. Shoemaker will be responsible for growth and development of the decentralized identity platform, the firm announced on Thursday. Philip's knowledge of blockchain and expertise building internal infrastructure will guide Identity.com through a key time of deployment and growth, said Jonathan Smith, CTO and co-founder of Civic. In his 7 years at Apple, Shoemaker worked as a senior director for App Store Review Division, where he built the team from 4 to over 300 members. Since leaving the tech giant, he spent a couple of years acting as an advisor to blockchain startups. Shoemaker said in a statement, and this is his statement, "Identity is the biggest unsolved problem of our society, and blockchain technology has the potential to completely revolutionize how we prove and verify identity. Enabling a trusted open source identity ecosystem where anyone can contribute or participate is a key part of making digital identity accessible and functional in our modern world." And that is pretty much all we need to read here. It just briefly talks about when they bought Identity.com. But I think this hire sounds like a perfect choice right here. It sounds like they got themselves someone really qualified who built up a division by himself from small to relatively large. Like it says here, 4 to over 300 members. Anyone who can successfully build up a division like that is generally good to have in a young company, because he knows the potential pitfalls, he knows how to act, he knows how to grow your business, how to grow your team in a way that works, in a way that runs smoothly. And as it says here, he's also been advising blockchain startups for years, so he's well affiliated with the technology, with the crypto world, and knows what he is doing. Now, if we're looking at his actual quote here, I think he's going a bit too big here. Identity is absolutely an issue in society. We're still using the same ways of proving identity that we were using hundreds of years ago. We are using passports, we're using ID cards. Now, nowadays with biometrics, we're doing more than ever before. But still, all of this is happening in centralized systems that are government run, that a lot of them have databases that are not transparent, that are sometimes weak, that are sometimes not well secured, that are sometimes easy to hack into. And there are also a lot of people, of course, who do not have a passport or who have even decided to destroy their passport for a variety of reasons, and that can often be a real problem. So the idea of having a decentralized network where you can verify your identity, that you probably with some kind of utopian idea that one day everyone's identity will be verified on there, which I do not think that is going to happen. I think it's a very tough proposition to get a lot of people to get on here. But in general, they have recognized a real issue here. And there's not a lot of other crypto firms that are dealing with this, when a blockchain seems like the obvious choice. A blockchain is transparent, a blockchain is not centralized, and a blockchain isn't as easily attacked and modified. So if you want to deal with identity, if you want to make sure that you can prove your identity in a transparent way, in a secure way, in a way that that you and the other person involved both know that the information is verified, then this seems like a step in the right direction. And of course, notably, you cannot fake a blockchain entry in the same way that you can get a fake passport. So they're definitely doing something interesting here, and they definitely hired someone really promising who seems like the perfect person for the job. I don't know that much about Civic. I have heard about them every now and then. I believe it's an Ethereum ERC20 token, but I'm not quite sure about that. But they definitely seem like they have a pretty decent business plan. Buying Identity.com, that might seem like a small thing, but having a good web address, there's a reason people pay millions for good web addresses and for good social media names. Because it matters, because that is the kind of thing that people will remember to type in. That is the kind of thing that you can mention in an ad and people will remember it when they go home because it's so simple. And that is the kind of thing that people might also just type into their browser to just go there and just see what's on it. So that is, they seem to have a pretty decent business plan here. They seem to be hiring the right people, making the right moves. I'm not sure the problem that they're dealing with is quite as big a problem as they are claiming. Like, identity is almost certainly not the biggest unsolved problem of our society. I mean, we have world hunger, we have a growing wealth gap, we have so many more issues than identity right now, but it is absolutely an issue, and it is one where blockchain is well suited to take care of it. Now let's get to Ripple. I know a lot of you are always waiting for Ripple in all of my videos, so let's do some Ripple. And we have a United Arab Emirates remittance firm launching their payments in Q1 2019. This is something we've known about for a while, but this time frame is new. One of the largest remittance firms in the United Arab Emirates, UAE Exchange, is working with Ripple to launch blockchain-based payments to Asia by the first quarter of next year. According to a report from Reuters on Thursday, the firm's CEO Promov Mangad, I probably mispronounced that, I'm sorry, said he expects to go live with support from 1 or 2 banks in Asia using blockchain-based payments network RippleNet. With a large number of Asian workers in the United Arab Emirates, that corridor accounts for the largest portion of its global remittance flow. According to a local news report in May, transfers to India made up 36.7% of the remittance total, those to Pakistan 8.8%, and the Philippines accounted for 6.9%. They say on its website that it is associated with over 140 banks and has a presence in 31 countries, yet it's taking blockchain adoption slowly. Blockchain holds tremendous promise for the industry, but there is progress to be made before we see it go fully mainstream, he told Reuters. The firm's collaboration with Ripple was first reported back in February, with UAE Exchange aiming to reduce cost and frictions associated with cross-border transactions. So this is pretty big. Like I said, we already knew this was happening, but now we have a time frame. And quarter 1 of 2019 seems to be the big time frame for pretty much anything happening in the crypto world right now, which of course makes sense. It starts in just 18 days. But it remains to be seen how much money actually gets transported through this, especially since it looks like they're going to be rolling it out slowly, with just a few partner banks at first and just for small parts of the remittance. But you have to keep in mind the United Arab Emirates and actually a lot of countries in that area, a lot of these Middle East countries, they have a lot of guest workers in there, a lot of guest workers from either other Middle East countries, from African countries, and from Asian countries. Because obviously these guest workers can get better wages there, there's more work. Sometimes the working conditions are not good at all, but it is often better than what they can get in their home countries. So we have another one of the situations that I often talk about in my videos where a country will have a lot of guest workers who frequently want to send money back to their families. And that of course makes up for a lot of this money being sent to India, to Pakistan, to the Philippines. So there's a lot of money being moved like that, and those are also often the groups who cannot afford to pay ridiculous banking fees, who are most hurt by transfers taking a week or two rather than a couple minutes, because these are the people that don't have a lot. If you're moving to another country just because wages are better there, chances are you don't have that much, your family doesn't have that much, and they will really rely on you sending money back. And when banks then take like a ridiculous 5 or 10% cut of that money because the fees are so high, and when it takes 2 weeks to arrive, that can really hurt. That can really cut into people's plans, into how they'll get their food for the next couple of days. So this is an area where something like Ripple's technologies, whether using Xcurrent, Xrapid, Xvia, any of them, where they can make a real life change, where they can have a real impact, and that is the beauty of it. This can seriously improve the lives of everyone involved, because it gets that money to their families faster and for lower fees, so they retain more of it. And at the same time, there is increased profit potential for the banks involved, because their own process costs less. They can, if their fees before were 10% and they were charging people 12%, so they could get 2% for themselves, now if their fees are 1% and they charge 2% extra anyways, that will still be 3%. That will still be a fourth of the fees from before. So banks can get the same, if not more money, at a lower cost for their customers. So there's profit potential for the banks. There's of course profit potential for Ripple because they're providing their technologies, and it's improving the lives for people in real ways, and that is a win-win-win. I love seeing situations like this. This is the rare situation where everybody benefits. You don't have those a lot. You do not have those a lot, but this is these kinds of situations where Ripple is going straight in and is trying to revolutionize how money is being transferred. These are situations where they can make real change, where everyone profits, where everyone benefits, and that is wonderful. And last but not least, let's talk about Cardano for a bit. Charles Hoskinson recently gave an interview, and we have some excerpts here. IOHK, a leading blockchain research and development firm, announced 2 tools developed by a world-leading team for writing smart contracts for the Cardano blockchain. The apps are called Plutus and Marlow and were launched in test format at the first Plutus Fest conference in Edinburgh, Scotland. These powerful tools will enable startups, the financial services and fintech industries, and academia to prepare blockchain contracts that will run on Cardano. Plutus provides a general-purpose programming language and tools for the Cardano protocol. IOHK scientists and engineers have combined the discipline of the Haskell functional language with the ADA network to create a platform for fintech developers to write secure and robust smart contracts. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Haskell, I believe, is the functional language that is underlying a lot of blockchain products that is being used for smart contracts on most platforms. And there's of course always a drive to develop that into your own thing that might be more simple, but that is almost certainly associated with your own company. What you see a lot in the tech world, in the software world, is you see that with like Linux distributions as well. Everyone kind of wants to develop their own versions of all pieces of software. And often that is a serious improvement, but you always have like a splitting into many different software products. And Plutus pretty much seems to be their replacement essentially for Haskell. I think Haskell is still available, but this is like their tool to use instead. IOHK has provided an easy-to-use exploratory development and testing environment for Plutus contracts based on a novel blockchain emulator called Plutus Playground. These contracts are ready to be deployed to the blockchain itself. Speaking with CCN, Cardano's Charles Hoskinson explained that the Marlowe application provides instant global fund transfers for business. It also enables the holding of rental deposits in escrow to increase transparency, he explained. As an example, the escrow mechanism allows party 1 to deposit the money into a contract in a way that the money will only be released when 2 out of 3 participants agree on whether party 2 has indeed given party 1 the item. The escrow participant, party 3, is supposed to be a neutral third party that decides in case of dispute. This way, if party 1 and 2 are honest, they will just agree on the result of the transaction and party 3 will not need to do anything. If party 1 and party 2 disagree, party 3 will be able to choose whether the money must go to party 1 or to party 2. And we don't really need to read the rest of this. But the bottom line is that they have 2 new software tools associated with their smart contract platform, and they've been developing smart contracts on their platform for a while now. They've been developing Cardano and the ADA token as a home for smart contracts, and this is further going that direction. Now, this pretty much just seems like a normal explanation of how escrow generally always works, so I don't know if this is specific to Cardano, but that is now possible with their Marlowe application. And of course, Plutus is the programming language with a bunch of tools and an emulator. This is all looking very promising for Cardano. I talked about in the past that there's a lot of development going on there. Out of all the major coins, Cardano, you hear the least in terms of partnerships and like big price predictions or people saying ridiculous things about it. But you hear a lot about their development, about them really investing in development, in progressing their platform. Now, I'm not sure just how promising their platform is right now because I don't really see them being used that much yet. I'm not really seeing that many people developing on top of their platform yet. But that could, of course, all come in the future. Generally, I think Cardano is very interesting. I think they have a team behind them that is actively working on progressing their platform. And that is not something we see from every major cryptocurrency. There are some cryptocurrencies, and I'm not going to name names here because I'm just going to be flamed in the comments. I've had enough of that the last couple of days. I just want nice comments for a couple of days. But there are some cryptocurrencies where it almost seems like the people behind it just want it to live in the past, don't want it to progress, don't want it to ever improve. And that is the enemy of progress, that is the enemy of what the blockchain space stands for. And we're at the advent of something completely new here. And to look at this and to not want to develop further, to not want to add new opportunities, new possibilities to your platforms, to not use cryptocurrencies and blockchains in novel new ways, I don't see the point of that. I think that goes against what the space stands for. So whenever I see a company, whenever I see a blockchain product and the people behind it actively develop and actually push out new upgrades and new technologies built on top of them, that is good in my book. Now, like I said here, ADA, Cardano, very promising in that regard. One of the more active developer communities as far as working on their actual platform is concerned. Not quite sure how active the developer community in terms of building things on top of it is, but at least developing their network itself, there is constant work happening there, and I think that's wonderful. And with that, I'm going to end today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. All these articles you can find in the description and read for yourself. In the description you'll also find links to my social media pages, as well as ways to support the channel monetarily if you feel so inclined. If you don't want to or can't give me money, that is of course perfectly fine. I would ask, and if you don't do this, also fine, but if you could just take the 10 seconds to leave a like and possibly a comment under this video, that really helps and is insanely appreciated. I know all YouTubers tell you to like and comment, but you might not quite understand to which extent that really helps a video. I've seen the last couple days, since I've been actively asking you guys to leave likes and comments, and since a lot of you have done that, thanks for that, I've seen my videos doing so much better on the second day. When YouTube decides how much they're pushing my video to other people who are not already subscribed to my channel, based on how many likes and comments it has, based on how much interaction there is on it. And I have noticed, since I've been asking you guys, and since so many of you have been commenting and liking, I really appreciate that, my videos been doing so much better on the second day, bringing so many new people to the channel. So I'm really thankful if you leave a like, if you leave a comment under this video or under any of my others. I really appreciate that. You keep this channel going, you help me grow, and I appreciate that. Thanks. I'll be back with another video tomorrow.